We're in game week 5 of the English Premier League, coming off an amazing start to the Champions League. We had internationals before that, so we had a bit of a break, but now we're getting straight into it. Game week 5, let's do it. But before we get into the predictions, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We've grown over 38 subscribers in the last 28 days, so thank you to all the new subscribers. So hit that notification button so you can keep updated on all latest videos that I bring out. Let's get into it. Wolves versus Brentford. Brentford, I say this every week, they've lost their coach, they've lost their goalkeeper, and their striker is not going to be the same as he was coming off a massive knock to that skull. The project's dead at Wolves. It looks like they're continuing with the Portuguese players and they're just not seeming to gel. I think they're going to take a few more weeks to really find where they are. But with Brentford, they're going exactly how I said they would, getting a win here, a point there, a point there, a point there. They're just cruising. And getting their points tally, accumulating points. They're never dropping points. They're doing exactly what I thought. After they kind of comfortably finish above relegation, and they continue this form, I think they can do that easily. So for this one, I think Brentford's going to win this one. I think it's going to be a 1-0 win to Brentford. I think they're going to scrape through off a Canos goal or a Tony goal. Hopefully either one scores or contributes to my fantasy Premier League. But yeah, I think it's going to be a 1-0 to Brentford. Burnley versus Arsenal, two boring teams to watch. Arsenal in a bit of a rut right now, coming off back-to-back 5-0 losses and then only scraping a 1-0 win against Norwich, against a team that's definitely going to get relegated. It doesn't look too good tactics-wise or going forward, attacking-wise either, when you got players like Lacazette, Aubameyang, Saka up front, and also Nicola Pepe. I can't forget that, 72 million for that signing. Burnley, they're brought in Max Cornier. I didn't watch them last week. I never watch Burnley games. They're very boring to watch. So I don't know what dynamic he's going to add to the team going forward. Maybe feed Chris Wood some more goals. But in the end, I think it's going to be a draw. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I think Cornier, if he plays, gets his goal. And I think that Aubameyang is going to score again in 2 consecutive weeks. He needs this. He's on massive wages. He's one of the leaders of the group. He's the captain. He's wearing that 14 shirt that Thierry Henry wore. So you got to get some fucking goals, man. 1-1 between those two. Liverpool versus Crystal Palace. This could go two ways. This could be an either demolition of Liverpool, maybe a 3-4, 5-0 Mo Salah masterclass. Sadio Mane's due for goals. He's in a bit of a form. I don't know if that's personal or physical, but there's something there, and it's not sitting well with him. And obviously, it's not sitting well with the Liverpool team. He came off the bench in the Champions League last week. He didn't look too good. And Crystal Palace, they played so good last week. They absolutely flogged Tottenham. New signing Edson Udward in 6 minutes, 2 goals. 2 goals in 6 minutes. They needed that. They need someone up there with Zaha. They've had Benteke. It didn't work out. They need someone who can complement Wilfried Zaha's creativity and also score goals as much as Wilfried Zaha, because he can't carry this team every year. And the project's looking brilliant, should I say. I think there's still going to be a little bit of tweaking here and there in the next game or two. It seems like Patrick Vieira's really sorted out what his starting 11 is going to be for the next few games. And they look very solid. Conor Gallagher, if he can keep up this form, it's going to be great to have a bit of youth in the midfield, just running up and down box to box. And he's also creative and can score goals as well. It's the problem with the defense. I think with Crystal Palace, maybe they need a little bit more time to gel. They got that young kid from the Chelsea Academy. He looks pretty solid. But, I think that Liverpool's going to have too much for these guys. Obviously, it's Liverpool. It's at Anfield, if I'm not mistaken. I think Mo Salah's going to have a bit of a field day this week. I think it's going to be a 2-1 win to Liverpool. It's not the closer score than what people would predict, but I think the 2-1's going to show in the play that how dominant Liverpool are going to be. I think it's going to be like a 70 to 30% possession, double shots on goals, double passes, and double distance covered. So yeah, I think it's going to be a 2-1 win for Liverpool. Man City versus Southampton. Man City's come off the back of a 6-3 win to Leipzig. Our coach has come out and said that he wants people to come to Southampton. We need fans. I got what he was saying. He wasn't saying that, we have no fans. Like, what are you doing? Why aren't you turning up? It was more that we've got a massive run of games in the next 3-4 weeks. We've got Southampton, we've got Chelsea, PSG, and Liverpool. So it's going to be one of those, few weeks where we're going to need as much fans as possible to make as much noise as possible to really motivate us, because we're going to be coming off a massive week. We're going to be knackered, and we have the best depth, the best rotation, and the best coach in the league, in the world, I say. So we've got the players to be able to rotate and still have a really, really solid starting 11 that can beat anybody on its day. But I get what he's trying to say. We need support in times like this, especially with the coronavirus. We had losses in profits. So, maybe to regain profits, also to make us a bit more motivated going into a massive week of football. Southampton, my relegation pick for the year. I don't know really what much to say about them. Like, all their games have been very boring, not very entertaining, very flat. They got a good draw against Manchester United. They did dominate Manchester United for most of that game, but they bottled it in the end. The finishing off the Armstrong one-on-one was horrible. I know he's coming up from the Championship. It's a massive leap from Blackburn to Southampton. But it's one of those ones where he needs to be taking those chances, especially against a team like Manchester United. But all in all, when we usually turn up to Southampton, it's either we lose 1-0 or we absolutely dominate them. Thinking in past results, 5-0, 8-0, 5-0 again. We lost 1-0 last year. But we usually absolutely tap these guys to the shithouse. So I think it's going to be a 3-1 win to Manchester City. I feel like Armstrong's going to probably fight back and get his goal for Southampton that he needs. I think it's going to be a goal from Ferran Torres if he plays. I think he's going to play. I want him to play in that false 9 striking role. He looks very good. I think Grealish is going to score again and get an assist. And I think someone in the midfield, I think if KDB plays or Phil Foden plays, either one can score. Relegation battle right here, Norwich versus Watford. This is going to be a good game in saying I think Watford is going to absolutely obliterate Norwich this week. I think they're going to have to come off the back of some pretty disappointing wins after beating Aston Villa in the opening week. They've kind of stepped off the mark. I thought they would continue on with some of the fixtures they had, but I think Ismail Sarr and Dennis are going to have very, very good games. I'd like to see Ben Foster play. The cycling GK, I like to see him playing goals, especially for a team, that's going to be relegated this year in Norwich. I think he will get a clean sheet easy. I feel that Sissoko, it was a pretty good signing for them. He doesn't shine in a team like Tottenham because he's not up to that standard, but he's definitely up to Watford standard, and he's won a World Cup. He's been in a Champions League final. The guy's been in big moments, and he can bring that experience and leadership to the Watford team. So I thought that was a great signing for a great price. With that being said, I feel like Watford are going to win this 2-0. I feel like it's going to be a very entertaining game from Watford. They're going to be counter-attacking, exploiting this Norwich team. And I feel like after the 90 minutes, we're going to see why Watford could fight and stay up this year and really show that if they get opportunities against smaller teams, like Norwich, like Southampton, like Burnley, that they're going to take their opportunities and they're going to win. So yeah, I think it's going to be a 2-0 win to Watford. Aston Villa versus Everton. Now this could be either a very boring game or a very entertaining game. Aston Villa, I've always said this, they're going to be very, very good this year or next year. They're going to have a great year. They come off a 11th place. They should have finished in the top 10. But I feel like Aston Villa this year, despite the results they've got already, are going to have a very, very solid middle to end of the season. These are the games they need to prove, but early on to say that we can crack top 8, with the team, with the investments that we've had, with the play, with the tactics that this coach is bringing to the team. Everton, it's hard to look past them in this game because they're coached by one of the best coaches I've seen in turning teams around, in turning them into where they should be. And Everton's a massive club. They've won maybe the 3rd highest Premier Leagues off the top of my head out of every team. They're a great team. They've got great fans, great history. And the team is actually decent despite the lack of signings. Damari Gray looks decent. Andros Townsend has stepped up from his free transfer, and he looks pretty good. With the strike force, DCL's looking good. Richarlison, as I always say, he's not even that good really. He's just there to complement, maybe tap-ins and stuff like that. But with this one, I think it's going to be a high-scoring draw. I think it's going to be a 3-3 draw. That sounds a bit mad saying that out loud, but yeah, I think it's going to be a really entertaining game, this one. Both teams are going to fight to the end, really try and make a statement to the Premier League, to their managers, and to their fans that, we're here to score goals. But I think it's going to be a bit of a defensive shambles from each club, and especially from Tyrone Mings coming off the back of a horrible back pass. That back pass was tragic. But yeah, I think it's going to be a 3-3 draw. Another entertaining game that I think will happen, Brighton versus Leicester. Now, Leicester's come off the back of a pretty good, I reckon it was a good performance against Man City. I'm not going to disrespect them. They fought to the end. They gave us no time to score goals. We could have put away 2-3 goals that we should have. We lacked that striking presence maybe a Harry Kane and Erling Haaland would bring. But they made us fight for that 1-0. I'm not going to lie. They look fucking good. They come off the back of a Europa League game. I'm not sure if they won or lost. I heard there was a bit of drama. I think it was against Napoli. But I think they're going to bounce back this week, versus Brighton. No credit taken away from Brighton. They've got a good coach. They've got a good, solid player in Basuma. They've brought in Cucurella from Getafe. He graduated from the Barcelona Academy. So, they're starting to look in the right direction. They make a lot of opportunities. It's just whether they can put them away with Neil Maupay up front. It's difficult because when he's good, and when he's not, he goes in a massive drought of goals, or he might pick off assists instead at times that they don't need it. I think it's going to be a 2-0 win to Leicester. I can't see Brighton breaking down the Leicester defence despite their injuries at the back. But I think it's going to be a solid performance, a solid bounce back performance from Leicester from the loss last week to Man City. 2-0 win for Leicester. Manchester United versus West Ham United. This could be a very good game as well. Jesse Lingard, if he plays, will be versing the team he was on loan with last year and absolutely tore the Premier League to shreds. West Ham, I think, are looking very, very solid this year. It's one of those things where longevity, with Antonio getting injured, with being in the Europa League, are they going to be able to have the squad to be able to rotate, keep on at the peak of their powers, and really progress and stay in that top 8, top 6, where they're really trying to fight for this week, or not this week, this year. Manchester United, not much to talk about. Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, Cristiano Ronaldo, that's all I have to really say. Defense is looking the strongest it has in the last decade. The midfield is probably the best in the Premier League. And that front three, if you can integrate Mason Greenwood in there with Rashford, Rashford, Ronaldo, Greenwood, he could get the best out of Greenwood, and he's a scary player to play against, especially when he's on his game. With this one, I think it's going to be a Manchester United win. They're going to bounce back after that shocking performance against Young Boys. And it's one of those ones where it's so surprising. I never thought that they would get a result from Manchester United, especially when you got that team in the Champions League against a team that's from a weaker league, weaker sort of system, tactical-wise and also player-wise. I think Manchester United's going to bounce back with a big win. I reckon it's going to be a 3-1 win to West Ham. I think their little run of form, West Ham's going to be taken down here. Maybe might knock a bit of confidence out of them, but Manchester United, their team is unbelievable what they've got in their team this year from the transfers that they've made. Maybe Jadon Sancho starts. We need a little bit more from him to see why he's worth the money that they paid for him. He's not really stepped up to the plate so far in the minutes that he's been given by Ollie. But yeah, 3-1 win to Manchester United. Now to the game of the week, Spurs versus Chelsea. It's one of those ones where it can end up with a blowout by Chelsea or a surprise win from Tottenham. I don't think it's going to be a draw this one. I think Chelsea's going to have a lot more on the line this one. Obviously, it's Spurs. It's a London derby, I guess you could say. Chelsea have looked very, very good this year. Great. Lukaku's such a good signing. I was about to say great signing. He's such a good signing. What he did at Zenit really showed why he's worth that money, getting that. I wouldn't even say a 50-50 header. I'd say that was 70% of strikers or 70% of people in his position would have missed that header. Such a clutch header at a clutch moment from a difficult angle. But it's Romelu Lukaku, and he's in the prime of his life, and Chelsea have got themselves diamond in the rough there. He's going to spend his best years at that club and score most of the goals in his whole career that he's ever done at that club. With Spurs, I don't know if Son's coming back. I don't know how long he's out for. Harry Kane, he needs to step up this game. It's simple as that. You know, these are the games he needs to step up for and really prove himself, because he nearly got the move of his dreams. He didn't. Still wants Man City to consider him for next year. These are the games he's got to step up. Can't take a step back and be complacent and be a sook about it. You know, if he wants that move, he needs to prove it. And these are big games he needs to prove. Tanganga got a red card last week. It's going to be a massive loss for Spurs. Maybe Dyer or Romero could fill that spot. You know, Romero, from what I've seen, is a very accomplished defender. You know, he won an award for, I think, best defender in the Serie A last year, and Serie A is the most defensive league out of all the top 5 leagues. So, you know, that's saying something. It's going to be ones where the wing backs are going to have to dominate this game if there's 5 at the back or 3 at the back with the 2 wing backs on the side, because that's what Chelsea does. They hold back, they don't concede, push the wing backs up, and then counter straight through the middle. And then they've got all angles covered. The Pulisic, Alonso on the left, and then you've got the Chilwell, or not Chilwell, you've got the James if he plays with maybe the Hudson or Doy or the Ziyech or the Werner, depending on where he's going to play Werner, you know. And then you've got the big man up front, Romelu Lukaku, just waiting to poach goals or do it on his own. So it's going to be a tough one for Spurs, and I don't think it's got all their cut out for it this week. I think Chelsea are going to flog Spurs 3-0. I think Romelu Lukaku is going to score a hat-trick, and I think that it's going to be one of those ones where this is going to just take Chelsea to the next level with confidence and just how people are going to view Chelsea. You know, maybe not as someone that could finish second or third, but is going to win the comp this year, especially with the week that, or the few weeks Manchester City is going to have with Liverpool, Chelsea. You know, Chelsea always gets Manchester City's hand in Premier League games. It's going to be one where this could turn the tables of who's going to win the Premier League this year. So 3-0 to Chelsea. All right, that was my Game Week 5 predictions for the English Premier League. Before you leave, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn the notifications on for more to follow all the uploads I upload in the future. Next video is going to be a Man City related video, so stay tuned for that. Without further ado, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.